I guess.
They ought to be getting a lot of it away.
That's 1-800-661-5300.
About 12:15, I'm going to be getting back online again. I'll be doing another meeting. No, there are several. They had the big one earlier that I watched, and now they're doing seminars. Yeah. Bill, if you go out in the garage again, in the pump room, bring me those hummingbird feeders. It looks like that sugar, it's still got a bunch of sugar in them or something. They look awful. I don't know, but I need to wash them good. Yeah. They're up on the left side. Right, I will. Oh, shit, excuse me. There's at least 3, maybe more.
Hi, Vicky.
Hello.
Get up.
Oh, Virginia, I thought you were Sam. I was going to say be nice because I'll be in
Oh,
here
that's
some.
because I'm on Sam's computer, his tablet,
Yeah.
because I didn't get the links, because I'm the big bad girl that didn't sign up before midnight. Why didn't we just all get them up front? That'd be nice. I'm being punished because I didn't register in time,
Oh.
but I'm still attending, so there.
Well, I just hope everything goes smooth. It went smooth in the last seminar I was in, emergency services. So I hope it goes smooth in this one. I need to see here how I record. Oh, it's already started recording. So it's being recorded already. It's 12:12. I'm, I hope that this seminar is helpful to those of y'all that are in finance. I want to quickly go over some things, and I've got a slideshow and everything, and then a lot of it will be questions and answers if there are any. But I certainly appreciate everybody getting their CAP 172s in and their budgets in at the beginning of the month.
What's a cap 132?
172.
172. Oh.
That's one where you
Oh, no, I know what that is.
okay.
I wondered about the budget. I thought, oh, did I miss something?
No.
Oh, I did the budget. Okay.
And like I say, hopefully, anytime anybody has any questions, I respond to you if you send me an email or give me a phone call. If you don't hear back from me in a day or two, my apologies. Please just resend or whatever. Because I check my emails on my phone a lot, and there has been an occasion where I've slid the wrong one over to the left. You know what I mean? And deleted something inadvertently. I try to be really careful, but it happens. So my goal is to make sure that I respond to you all and respond in a timely fashion. And if I don't, please, don't hesitate to send me something again and say, hey, I sent you something the other day and I haven't heard back from you. Because, I need to know if I missed something. So we got one more minute, and we'll go ahead and let's see if I can share my screen here. Show participants, show conversation. Let me get my screen up. Okay. Yeah. Show participants, show conversation. Hands. Oh, share content.
Yeah, it's a little far. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, it's 12:15, and there's a few people in here. So I hope that, everybody that wanted to participate is able to get in. I'm doing the screen share. Oh, hello. Can everybody see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure how it
just
looked like.
from the patch up, it doesn't, oh, it does show the whole
You're good,
page.
you're
Sorry. Okay. Got it.
Hey, Vicky,
Yes.
go ahead and hit the up top Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let me see. I can't see your thing, but
Sure.
go from the beginning.
Okay, is that
Yeah.
better?
Yeah, that way you got full, do full screen. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I hope that everybody's on that wants to be on, but if they miss something, it is being recorded. And if you need to go back, I think Rich said he'll have all these available next week. So, and as I said earlier, anytime you have any questions, please feel free to call me. And of course, Roger's there Monday through Friday, and he's always willing to help. So, anyway, starting off, I thought I'd go over some of the responsibilities that we have as unit finance officers. We're responsible for filling out the CAP 173-1C for check requests, the 173-1D for deposits. We're responsible for the state submissions, credit cards. We share a kind of responsibility with the monthly aircraft utilization for those units that have aircraft assigned to them. Still, as finances, you need to make sure that bill gets paid each month. We're also responsible to make sure that we hold quarterly, I don't know why I did that, quarterly finance meetings, scratch the month there. We're responsible for sending the annual budget and for reviewing the budget. I should be sending out the budget to actuals each quarter for you to do, and annually the CAP 172. So I thought I'd start with check requests, and I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly because I think most people are familiar with these. The check requests, all payments requests for expense and reimbursements from the unit's accounts are to be submitted via the 173-1C, which is the West Virginia units below wing level check request form, and that needs to be submitted to Roger there at the wing. And please remember, when you're submitting these, you need to have the backup documentation. And you also need to have any requests over $500 should have finance committee approval, and those minutes need to be attached for Roger. Here's a copy of the 173-1C check request form. I don't think I need to go over how to fill out each section of the form, but I will say I don't know if you can see my arrow on the itemized account. That's how you're going to know if you're adhering to the budget that you submitted. So, make sure you record those to the proper account. You can get a list. This is just a snapshot of part of the chart of accounts, and that can be found on the CAP members website under chart of accounts. They've got a PDF and a Word file, and that'll list all the accounts. And that's why I told you on the budgets, it's best to put it in the lead account, like this 84,000,000 activities encampments. That's the lead account. Roger won't post to that account because it's a lead account. But when you do your budget, if you put it to the lead account, then he can post to any of those sub accounts, and that will allow it to, keep in your budget. Hope I'm explained that well. But anyway, that's, like I said, that goes under the itemized account. Make sure if it's a vehicle or aircraft expense, you put in the VIN number, the vehicle number, and a brief description of what it's for. If you use the account, it was for, awards or for, hangar facilities or vehicle fuel. And anyway, the next item I wanted to just go over briefly, and we can, talk at length about any of these that you have any questions on. The deposits. All deposits of funds by units must be recorded on the 173-1D. That's the West Virginia unit below wing level deposit advice. And that must be submitted to the wing administrator. It says in accordance with the time limitations specified in the CAP regulation 173-1 and per section 11R, that's within 11 days. If Roger has a deposit, maybe somebody's made directly to the bank and not forwarded the documentation to wing. If he has a deposit that he doesn't know where it's come from, he'll try to reach out to send a note out to all the units, but, after a certain amount of time, then that deposit will just go into the general fund. So there, you want to get those in quickly. And this is the 173-1D form. Again, you know,
What?
I'm sorry, does somebody have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question on the 173-1.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. Is there any way, let me start over. Do the squadron commanders and anybody else who needs to sign those documents have the same electronic signing capacity that we do? And because if I send it to them to be signed off on, they can put it back into a central location, and then I can be the last one that electronically signs, so I can send it. One of the issues that I've seen with my own signature is once you sign it, kind of can't have anybody else somewhere else electronically sign it. You know, and then email it back to you, because if you close it, save it, and open it, it won't let you alter it. So how do we obtain 2 or 3 or 4 signatures on something like over a $500 approval?
Well, you know, at Wing, we use, I think it's Adobe Pro, and we've got licenses for those, but we have to put those on CAP computers. So like if the finance officer has a Civil Air Patrol computer, the commander has a Civil Air Patrol computer, you know, we can put that license, they can use that license to give you Adobe Pro, which gives you the capability of doing the electronic signature.
For
Now,
everyone, I have my own. I can do mine, but
right.
not there.
Don't have the CAP computer, you know, you can do the old paper route, you know, at the meetings, have everybody sign off. If we ever go, you know, I shouldn't say when we go back to meetings, hopefully that'll be soon. I know that we've also allowed sometimes attached emails. I wouldn't recommend that on any large expenditures, but you know, you could attach an email saying, you know, the wing commander saying, I approve of this, you know.
Okay. Vicki, go
Yes.
back to the 173.
173. Okay.
Okay. You see the red arrows or the banners? Each person can sign those. You don't. They will not be blocked out. If they sign, one signs, you can send it to the next one, and they can sign. It's not protected for the signatures like Virginia was saying. So that form can be used to different people. You just have to email it to them. As long as they have Adobe, they'll be able to sign those.
Okay. I'll try that then this month. Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Commander. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. We're talking about deposits and making sure that we do our deposits timely. This is the section I wanted to focus on, the state submissions. They must be submitted monthly, and they're due by the 10th of each month. When you're filling out the form, I'll show you the form here next. The ending balance will be the beginning balance will be the ending balance of the previous month. If you're late, these need to be submitted each month. If you're late submitting, then you'll have 1 month to bring it into compliance. If you don't bring it into compliance, then your squadron will be placed on financial freeze, and we don't, you know, that's the last thing we want to do. Just a reminder, funds cannot be used for donations or to purchase items for donation. Food purchases, that's always, we've discussed it numerous times. Food purchases are allowed during and after a CAP mission activity. But put a note there, a normal meeting night activity is not a reason to provide food with taxpayer dollars. So, you know, make sure that if you're providing food, that you know, make it clear the reason for the food, that it's related to maybe, you know, a SARX or whatever kind of activity. But just regular meeting nights, that's not a use for state taxpayer dollars. Now, if you've had fundraisers, you have your own corporate funds or whatever, and wish to do so, that's different. But for state submissions, the food purchases must be related to a CAP mission or activity. And another right below that, it says food and other related purchases for parties are not allowed under the state allocated funds and shall be supplied by donated funds or from unit fundraising activities. That's things like potlucks and stuff. CAP is a tax exempt corporation. West Virginia state taxes will not be reimbursed on the state submission form. So when you fill out this form, make sure that the expenses that you're requesting reimbursement for, you need to attach your receipts, but check those receipts and make sure that you are not charged West Virginia state taxes. Now, out-of-state taxes, you can be reimbursed for. The state of West Virginia prefers that we, like fuel purchases and stuff like that, that those are made in state. And we do on the fuel reimbursements, we do pay for those taxes. I apologize for my dog. She's getting a little restless. Junior, can you get her? Thank you. Sorry about that. If I wasn't on the computer talking or on the phone, she behaves, but as soon as I do something, she starts. But anyway, we do have a West Virginia state tax exempt form, and Colonel Moody has signed that. And if you're making purchases in the state of West Virginia, take that form with you, give them a copy of it. A lot of times they don't. Sometimes they'll keep a copy. Sometimes they just look at the copy and take my taxes off. But if you use that form, give it to them, then they should not be charging you state taxes. In the past, we've even had forms for those units that are close to another state. Some of the other states have given us a tax exempt form to use as well. Virginia has in the past. But if something happens and a member, forgets to use that form, gets charged taxes, then, we can reimburse them for the purchase. But, either the member will have to bear the cost of the taxes, or, you can decide as a squadron how to handle that, but do not request a state reimbursement for it. Also, of note, Roger sent me this, that orders from Vanguard must be made under the squadron name, or else if you make it under your name, like I've, used Vanguard before, if I'm making purchases for Mid-Valley under my name, then they're going to charge me West Virginia state taxes. So make sure that if you're making purchases from Vanguard, that you make those purchases under the squadron name. And please remember that funds are subject to audit by the West Virginia State Auditors, the West Virginia Adjutant General's Office, and the Wing Finance Committee members may also audit your books. Original receipts need to be retained for 10 years for the state submissions. And I put this in red. State allocated funds are state taxpayer dollars and should be solely used to further the missions of Civil Air Patrol. Since we're talking about state submissions, last year we received the same funding as we've received for several years. And due to COVID, of course, we didn't have near as many activities as normal. So most of the units didn't come anywhere close to spending the funds that they were allocated last year. So we need to really be looking at that. And, because we have a lot of unexpended 2021 funds, and now we're receiving 2022 funds. So we need to take a look at, what we have, take a look at our equipment. We're extremely blessed here in West Virginia to receive this funding, but to continue to receive the funding, we need to, use the funding, show that we need the funding, and use the funding wisely. We want to make sure that the funding, like I said, is used to further our CAP mission, and that we spend it responsibly and thoughtfully. And, if anybody reviewed it, we could pass, the red face test. They said, that, this was a legitimate purchase and it will further our mission. So right now, might be a good time to take inventory. Like if you have older computers that have become obsolete, some of the Windows 7 or whatever that you may need, now may be a good time to look at replacing those. Maybe printers and stuff that are at the units. If they're getting worn, have had a lot of copies and stuff starting to wear out, you may want to think about retiring those and purchasing new ones, whatever, you think would be one of those purchases that would, like I say, again, benefit the unit. But now might be the time to go ahead and start taking a look at those. Certainly the cost of things are really going up, and, I don't know how long the inflation is going to continue or whatever, but, we may want to purchase those items sooner rather than later as well. And certainly there's, on the news, they're always talking about inflation and supply issues and everything right now. So, we might want to make sure that we're stay ahead of everything and take a look at,
Vic, you have
what.
a couple of questions about certain expenditures if you have time.
Sure.
Um,
Go ahead.
I'm concerned, or I'm curious as to what would qualify as a state expenditure versus a squadron expenditure versus a capital expenditure, and I'm unclear on how to handle each one of those.
Oh, okay. Well, the state expenditures, like I say, other than those, some of those expenses I noted, food purchases for a party or something, most of our expenditures can be reimbursed by the state. Things like if you want, if you need uniforms, equipment, fuel that's not on a reimbursable mission. Now if the Air Force or somebody is paying for the mission fuel, you don't want to take those receipts and submit for reimbursement. That's, that's happened before in the past, and thank goodness we've got, controls in place that we catch those usually, but may not. So we want to be real careful we don't do that. But like I say, if you're not getting reimbursed for fuel from the Air Force, then certainly that fuel can be turned in for state submission. Now, like vehicle maintenance, we have a different process for vehicle maintenance. If you need work, we've got those WEX cards or whatever. And sometimes if it's over a certain amount, you have to contact Roger, get permission and stuff. So you want to stay away from that. But other things, like I say, computers, printers, maybe you need batteries for your radios.
Building repairs, things like that.
Right.
Roof, things like that.
Yeah. Now, really large, repairs like that, things over $500, you need to have the finance committee have a meeting on. And, sometimes people with like a large, the units that own their own buildings, if there's a large problem that they need to take care of, they can come to the wing finance committee and, see if we've got some money to assist as well. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. But as far as state submissions, now if you're want to have a fundraiser and maybe you're wanting to sell hot dogs and drinks and chips and stuff like that, that's not reimbursable by the state. You have to buy your hot dogs and buns and chips and drinks and all that out of your unit funds and then, whatever you money make on the fundraiser, maybe you support the members that way, but you can't ask for reimbursement for those items on the state submission form.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Credit cards. The units need to complete the CAP 172, which everyone did prior to October the 1st. And that's where you can spell out who in your unit can use the credit card and, how much they're allowed to charge. All usage must be documented with detailed receipts and submitted to wing within 21 days of the statement closing date. So when it's kind of tight by the time Roger gets it, and then he sends it, or I think you all get them direct too, and then he sends them out to you telling you got the statement. But we need to get that in as soon as we can so that, he can, he'll go ahead probably and pay it, but we like to keep that in within 21 days. You cannot use the credit card for cash advances. Somebody's traveling and you're saying, oh, that's no problem. we'll get you $100 cash advance for miscellaneous. Can't do that. If you lose the unit credit card, must be reported immediately to the issuer and to the commander. So if it's lost, stolen, anything like that, you need to report that immediately. And it cannot be used for personal use. You know, I know some people have thought, you know, oh, I'm at Walmart and it's not taking my card. I'll just use the unit card and, you know, I'll pay it back. You know what I mean? That's not somebody trying to cheat or anything, but we can't do that. You're at Walmart and your credit card's not running through the scanner. Well, you know, you'll have to go home and get another credit card or put it in layaway or whatever, but you can't use the Civil War Patrol card for that. So, like I say, in the past, you know, we've had a few instances where someone thought, well, you know, I'll put this $30 groceries on the unit card. I'll pay it back when I get the bill. I'll write a personal check. And it seems like, oh, okay, that, you know, it's not costing us any money, but we still can't do that. Okay. Monthly aircraft utilization. I know that as the finance officer, I'm sure that you have someone else, the aircraft, what the operations is in charge of the aircraft utilization, but you're responsible for making sure it gets paid as well. So we rent the West Virginia, we rent the Cessna 182 for $35 an hour and the 172 for $30 an hour. That's for all Air Force assigned non-reimbursable missions and cap corporate missions, and those are the ones with the B symbol or the C symbol. The aircraft utilization report, the West Virginia Form 70-2, and the payment must be submitted to Wing by the 10th of the month following the end of the reporting period. So by November 10th, you'll need to submit for October's flying. The unit that has possession of the aircraft on the first calendar day of the month is responsible for completing the monthly West Virginia Form 70-2 and paying the full payment due from individual members for use of the aircraft during the reporting period. So, you know, some flights, the Wing, sometimes the Wing has money for pilot proficiency. But sometimes they don't. The member that wants to fly has to say, okay, I'll pay the $35 an hour or whatever, but I need a little more practice or I want a little practice. So that member then would be responsible for, you know, sending the unit a check, and then you would have to deposit that and then send to the Wing for the entire month for everybody. Do not have members send individual payments to the Wing for usage. That's been done in the past before, and it's very confusing. It leaves the Wing administrator trying to chase different things down. So if the members are using it for proficiency flying that's not being reversed by either the Air Force, corporate, or, you know, by the Wing, then they need to write a check, and the unit will then have to send that to the Wing administrator, which is Roger. Just so you all know, West Virginia Wing subsidizes the difference between the reduced rate of 30 and 35 an hour and the rate established by national headquarters. And that is so that we can encourage pilot proficiency. Anyone have any questions about aircraft utilization? Okay, and I'm sure if you think of something, you know, I'm almost finished, then we can go back over these things. Unit Finance Committee. Each unit must have a finance committee, and that must be established within 30 days of a new commander. Your all's finance committee was just listed on your CAP Form 172 that you sent October 1st. So if there's any changes to that committee, then, you know, that needs to be noted. You can send, you know, a new CAP Form 172 in and put the, you know, the new members on there. But the finance committee must have at least 3 members. One of them is the unit commander. One of them must be the finance officer, and there must be at least one other senior member. Now, you can have as many members of a finance committee that you want. And there's some advantages and disadvantages to small and large finance committees. A minimum of 3. Well, for a majority, you have to have 2 sign off on it. But maybe there's the commander working out of town and the other senior member is not very often available. It's really hard to chase those down. So sometimes it might be better to have, 7 members on your finance committee, but then you'd have to have, to pass something, you'd have to have 4 of them. So there's some advantages and disadvantages, whatever works for your squadron, but it must be at least a minimum of 3. And like I said, those members are listed on the CAP Form 172. You also, I didn't see anywhere where it's a requirement, but in e-services under committees, you can list the finance committee. I know it makes it handy for me when I'm looking like, who's on the finance committee, say Boone or Charleston or whatever. I can just go into e-services and pull that up. So I would, suggest that you list them in e-services, but I couldn't find anywhere where it was a requirement to list them in e-services. But it's a good thing to do. Yes.
It is a requirement because it is one of the compliance inspection items.
Thank you, Major Dawson. I appreciate that. I couldn't find where it was a requirement, but definitely it's there in e-services to list, and that's a good way to have that recorded in a person's a member's committee memberships and whatever. So thank you for letting me know that that is a requirement.
And
So,
if I could just mention something else too, it's just like the CAP Form 172 is due 1 October each year, but it's also due anytime their commander changes or the finance officer changes. So for instance, Elkins just completed it for, by 1 October, but we have a change of command this month. So we're going to be redoing it again this month because of the change of command. So anytime that commander changes or the finance officer changes, it has to be done, even though you've just done it.
thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. And also, on that 172, all your recurring expenses, if they say you're paying $25 a month for a phone and all of a sudden they raise the price to 30, well, if it's listed on the 172 as 25 a recurring expense, that's all Roger's authorized to pay. So you either then have to handle it, like you would any other expense, or raise the amount for the recurring expense. All unit fundraising must be conducted in accordance with CAP Regulation 173-4. It's very short, it's not very long compared to most of the regulations, and it pretty much spells out what you need to do. So make sure that before you do any fundraising that you familiarize yourself with the CAP R 173-4. The Finance Committee must approve all unit expense transactions over $500. They must meet at least quarterly, and the meeting minutes must be kept at the unit. And you can see the CAP R 10-1. I should have looked that up. It'll tell you how long you need to keep those meeting minutes, but you must. It's a requirement that your Finance Committee meet quarterly, and that you record that. And of course, one of the jobs of the Finance Committee is to develop and approve the annual budget, which you all just finished that. I don't know if y'all want to go over the budget, but when considering your budget at the end of the year, think about, what expenses does the unit have? Do you pay rent? If you do, you'll want that on your recurring expense, but you want to, allot that money out to that. Does the unit have to pay higher hangar fees for an aircraft? Do you have other operating costs? Do you have a printer that might require ink or paper? All those, when you're putting together your budget for the year, you want to think about those kind of things. What income do you have? Do you receive income donations on a regular basis? Sometimes some of the, excuse me, some corporations will make donations on behalf of their employees. And it may be members that, do this each year. So you'll, want to take that into consideration, how much money you've got coming in, how many, you normally have a fundraiser throughout the year. It's good to, even though we get a lot of money from the state, it's good to still do fundraisers because, that way you've got money for things that maybe are not covered under state submissions. One never knows, budgets get cut, and if something would happen, we'd lose state funding. If you have an already established fundraiser, that makes it, keeps you in practice and for doing fundraising. So it's good to, even though we get a lot of money from the state, we have a lot of, there are a lot of good things we can purchase with money, that we make by fundraising and in addition. So, Civil Air Patrol provides a valuable service in West Virginia, not only search and rescue, but the cadet program and aerospace education. So, what activities will the unit have during the year? Open house, SARX, orientation flights, all those are you should consider. And says, are there any opportunities for fundraising or grants? And there's all kinds of information in Civil Air Patrol for grant writing, and there's even a list of different corporations that you can apply to for grants and stuff. So I would encourage every unit to fundraise and seek grants, and especially if you're remodeling a building or wanting, say you don't have a building, Mid Valley we rent, if we wanted to a building, what a good way to start, looking at grants, fundraisers. Also, like I said, on budget, you want to consider your recurring expenses that you have, telephones, buildings, you've got, utilities, electric, gas, water, sewer, that type thing.
Vicki?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry. Someone have a question?
Fundraising or grants?
Pardon?
Is it me or is Jenna?
Yes, hello.
Okay, good, thank you. I hoped I wasn't stepping on someone else. I have a really good suggestion for fundraising within each county. Most of the county commissions love to give money to organizations that work with children. And they've done so for us. And the last one was $1,500 with no restrictions. And they took a requisition for one for a grant for $2,500 to cover all of the expenses of the cadets to go to Camp Dawson. And this year I was told to go ahead and submit for $5,000 because with COVID, they hadn't spent as much money. And a lot of the tax money from the various counties comes from the sheriff's department, and they dole it out to the county committees. So if you have a county commission, your commissioners have usually one day a week where they will allow people to come in and ask for money. So I wasn't able to go to their last meeting, and he called me and said, I know you, just fill it out, tell me how much you want, and we'll work with you.
That's wonderful. And it's wonderful
Yeah.
that you built up a good relationship with your county like that. That you brought in that kind of additional funding and stuff already to help, allow those cadets and more cadets to go to Camp Dawson, or, especially,
Right.
because there's, some cadets, their families or whatever,
They need something.
can afford to pay, and some of them, maybe their
Well,
family
they
doesn't.
won't put their hand up and ask. They won't tell you that they don't have the money.
Mhm.
And I don't blame them. You just don't want to be the one that's got the spotlight on you. But
Sure.
we did notice that two cadets had gotten so-called scholarships from us because we knew they didn't have the money. But what about the ones we don't know? The county commissions are willing to cover that.
Because, Civil Air Patrol, that's one of the things that I enjoy about being a member of Civil Air Patrol the most, is they offer so many different opportunities for cadets that, I think back and I think, when I was younger, boy, what would I have given to taking advantage just a fraction of these opportunities? I mean, all the different national programs and Our encampment opens up a whole world of
Young
opportunity.
Eagles, all of it. It's amazing.
It is. I
That's
mean,
something. But Cap kids do that.
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of, leadership and flying, and it's just, people that want maybe a military path or whatever. I mean, there's just all
Right.
kinds of different things out there for them. I tell you, it's just remarkable. And now that we're getting, well, we have been for a while, all these STEM kits and stuff. I mean, boy, doesn't that spark their imagination about what they maybe want to pursue? I think that's just
Amazing.
wonderful. I'm sorry, I drone on too long about this.
Well, that will help if the county commissions in any county have any money. They're more than willing to give it to groups who work with children.
But that's wonderful to hear too, because what a great way to spend the money, helping our next generation explore and decide what they want to do. Oh boy. So anyway, I forgot to shut the house phone off. Anyway,
Vicki, I have a question.
yes. Yes.
I don't see under finances and e-services where to list the committee members. Under finance, I have regulations, R173-1 and R73-3. And that's all I see under finances and the e-services tabs.
Okay. I tell you what, I've got a little bit of time here. Let me go through this real quick. I've just got another couple slides to go through real quick, and then I'll see if I can't put e-services on my screen, okay?
Okay. Or maybe it's just something I don't have access to. Is it just for the commanders list?
It could be. It could be. But as a finance officer, I would hope you'd have access to that. But yeah, let me just go through here real quick, and we'll do that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. This right here, I just put a copy of the 172 that you all just filled out. That's what that is, and that's the signature part. So everybody's probably familiar with that, having just done it. I just wanted to remind everyone, intercompany, the 65, and it's got 8 zeros behind it, is for income, and 95 is for expense for intercompany. So when you're using your chart of accounts, unless you're giving money to Wing or Wing's giving money to you or National, stay away from those accounts. Eventbrite, at the intercompany expense with the Wing. And a reminder that all fuel for vehicles is 7696000. All fuel. And all food, unless bought for a fundraiser, goes under unit event. If that helps. And I think this is my last slide. Yep. I just wanted to remind everyone that CAP, Civil Air Patrol, uses accrual basis accounting. And what that means is under accrual basis of accounting, revenues are reported when they are earned, not when they are received. And expenses are reported when they are incurred, not when they are paid. So in other words, if you order, I don't know, a printer and that expense is incurred then when you sign, say you sign a contract, let me do it a little different. Say you sign a contract for a new sidewalk. When you sign that contract, that's when the expense is incurred. Well, probably when it's done, not when you give him the check. I hope that makes sense. It's when it's incurred, not when it's paid. So if you use your credit card, you go to Best Buy, you buy a printer, that expense is incurred then, not when Roger pays the credit card. Maybe that's better example. But I know in QuickBooks, there's a difference when I'm looking at, when I click on cash or accrual, the different kind of accounting, and it'll give me a different ledger for each unit, slightly different, whether I'm using cash basis or accrual basis. And I'm not sure about Quicken, but I know a lot of y'all use Quicken. I just want to let you know we use accrual basis for Civil Air Patrol. So I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting at the moment and see if I can't get into e-services, so we can take a quick look at how to put the finance members in e-services. So let's see here. I'm going to go under screen share. Where did I find that? There. Share content. And then let me see. Okay. Share content. Includes. Okay. I don't know that I know how to do this, but we'll try. Can anybody see anything on my screen?
No, we're not seeing it, Vicky, and I'll put the directions in the chat as to how you assign the committee.
Okay. I'd like to be able to, I know there's a way for me to do it on my screen. I just,
There's right beside of the lead button, there's a little up arrow, and that's where you share.
yeah, that's what I clicked on that. And it says I'm share content. And then it says, oh, maybe it's window. Nope. Inbox, document.
Yeah, you have to pick which one you want to
See it
share.
now?
Yes.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Okay, so I think I went down here and let's see.
Make sure you renew.
Yeah,
We need your
not that
membership
bad, is
renewal.
let's see here. Was it member reports?
No, go to personnel.
Okay, personnel, but this is a little different than I did the other day. I'll go ahead and put mine in.
No, hold
If I-
up. Then click personnel again. Nope.
Oops,
I don't know
oh,
where you are. Go to the menu, Vicky.
hold on, yeah, get my weight off there.
Oh. Go to menu.
It's recorded for anybody to look at now. Okay, personnel.
No, still, you're looking at, that's your one of your favorites. You want to look at menu. Up
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and then personnel. And then go to duty assignment. Duty assignment again. And then assign committees.
Okay.
Nope. Go down to assign committees.
Yep, thank you. I had done this earlier today. Okay, that's my home squadron. So that'll
Yeah,
work.
and then you just choose the member, like if you wanted to choose you to put in there, just look at the drop down.
Okay, I'll use Colonel
Okay,
Anderson, and then I
there
would
you
just
go.
committee.
Function area.
I don't have a sign committee.
You might have to get the commander to do it or the personnel officer.
Okay.
Because I did it, Kathleen, I did it this morning, but it did it a different way. Because that's one thing about e-services. There's always more, well, not always, but most of the time there's more than one way to do it.
Yeah, that's just the way I do it.
But this way right here, so I go down to the functional area, I hit financial management, and there it allowed me to put in finance committee, and then I would submit. Right.
That's correct. So if you you can see the finance committee members showing there now. And so that's, you could just click over there and delete them, or, however, if you wanted to reassign, but you also have to do the 172 as well.
Yes. Okay. But thank you for pointing that out. I looked and looked. I couldn't find where it was a requirement, but I appreciate you letting me know it's a requirement.
Well, and I don't know that it must be specifically in the regulation somewhere, because it is a compliance inspection. That's something that you have to provide the list for the inspectors for the IG team.
Okay. I think I got that. I'm going to do it one more time. I go under duty assignment, and then I click duty assignment here, and then assign committees. I've got my home squadron there.
And that's because you have that saved to your favorites as a that's a shortcut. It's basically, you're just saving a step. And you can assign a favorites over under your name. If you click over there, then you have the option to,
Oh, okay.
over on the right, yes. So if you go to favorites, you can set up your favorites.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay. And then you come down here and you pick a member and put them on the committee. That's excellent. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions while I'm still in e-services? Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Okay, well, it's 1:02 and we've got to 1:15. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? I want to come off the chair here.
Vicki, this is
Yeah.
this is Carl Moody. I do want to say thank you for doing the finance presentation. The finance officer is a very important person in the unit and also at wing. It keeps the commanders out of jail. So thank you so much for providing that safety net for us. So thank you for a great presentation.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll try to do my best to keep you out of jail. Anybody else have any questions? You know, I was going to say too, to build on what Commander Moody said, and I think we talked about it in our finance meeting that we had at the end of September, that, you know, I do appreciate all that you all do, because it is time consuming and sometimes it's kind of meticulous and going back over things and trying to get things to balance. But you know, it does take a lot of time, but it you know, it allows us to do so many things here, especially like I said, with the cadets and everything. You know, it allows us to continue our funding, and that allows us to provide so many opportunities for the cadets. And not to mention, you know, purchasing the equipment that we need to further our search and rescue capabilities. You know, you know, we've been responsible for, you know, saving lives, and unfortunately, you know, we've, you know, guarded airplanes and stuff that where, you know, someone wasn't so fortunate, but it's a vital, important service. So, like I say, you're taking the time to do this allows us to continue to do our mission. And I'll probably be scheduling another finance committee meeting in January. To talk about, you know, beginning of the year, make sure you get your W-9s in to wing. And I'll be sending out quarterly the budget to actuals, try to review those and see if, you know, make sure that things are getting assigned to the proper accounts. And then, you know, like I say, I'll continue to send out the ledgers, but, you know, try to review those every month when I send them and make sure that they're balanced, because the longer you wait to review the ledger, then the much harder it is to find the error. So I appreciate it. And you want to have anything else they want to say, or because I think our next seminar starts at 1:15. Our last of our seminars, I believe, starts at 1:15. So okay. If there are any questions, again, thanks everyone. Thank you, Major Dawson. Certainly appreciate your help. Commander, appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody on the in the seminar. And feel free to call me anytime if I don't know the answer, which that's possible. I certainly will do my best to get you one as quickly as I can. Thanks. Y'all have a good afternoon and enjoy
Thank
the
you,
rest of your
Vicki.
conference. Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.